Well, hello, Facebook Live. Come into the live show. How are you guys? Good morning to you. I hope that you're doing great on this beautiful morning. Come in to this live show. Just checking my connection here, making sure that you can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. This is Gozo University. I'm going to write here the name of this brand new segment in this new school, online school that I am starting this year called Gozo University. And so welcome to this live stream. Just did a show a couple days ago, my first course or my first lesson on this 8-week course that I'm going to do starting January 1st. Called Living on Gozo Street, Viviendo la Vida Gozo in Spanish. It'll be bilingual in Spanish and English. And so starting January 1st, you can go to lifeofgozo.com/mobile mentor. And the link will be right there at the top of this post so that you can sign up to receive this brand new course that is going to be talking about 8 principles that you need to live on Gozo Street. Gozo, by the way, means, what does it mean? It means joy. And so I'm going to actually add the link here on this post. Make sure that you give me a heart, a comment, a like. Let me know that you're watching, where you're from. And most of all, share this video with your friends. We're going to be talking today about the top 10 predictions that I have for 2017. So welcome, everybody. I'm just going to add the link here to this post so that you can then just click on that link so you can receive you can sign up to register for my brand new course called Gozo University. And the actual class inside of this brand new university is called Living on Gozo Street. So I'm going to just get this link here to you. Let me just write that in. How are you guys? How's your morning on this beautiful Friday? Almost the end of the year. Can you believe it? Man, it seems like yesterday we were just starting this year, 2016. Some people say that it's been a hard year. Other people say that it's been a great year. I wonder how you feel and how you are doing. Welcome me. Welcome you, Amanda. I hadn't seen your name, hermana. So nice to have you here. So always giving you hopefully the best content that you can find online. Welcome to Gozo University. Gozo University is the name of this brand new online school that I'm starting January 1st that is going to be made up of an 8-week course. It starts January 1st, talking about 8 themes that I think will really impact you. They're all in the description below of the previous posts here on my Facebook page, so you can just go back, check out those 8 topics, and you can then go to the link right there at the bottom of this post on Facebook or on YouTube or Periscope, Twitter, wherever you're watching this, Instagram, so you can register for this brand new course that I believe is going to change your life, because there are a lot of negative things that people are hearing and fears and concerns, and so you need positive content. And why not use your phone to receive that content so that whether it's at night you can listen to this amazing course, or whether it's during the day, maybe you're at work and you can take a break, you're at home on the weekends and you can just listen to all 8 courses. It's going to be a great online course every week, a brand new video. 45 minutes of amazing content. And you can also download a actual worksheet with each video that you can then use to follow along some of the questions that I have. Some people like to write things down. Put a 1 in the chat below if you are a person that likes to write things down, take notes, or maybe write a 2 if you're someone who just likes to listen and process things internally. So let me know there in the chat below what your style is. So hopefully you can hear me fine, right, sister? You can hear me just fine? Thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the glare on my eyes here. That is a little strong, but that's kind of the lighting in this room. So let me actually do one more thing, my dear friends, before I continue. I'm going to share this video out with my other friends on my other page, just so that we can get the word out to anyone and everyone who may want to watch and to know what my top 10 predictions are for 2017. So now some of these predictions will be focused, perhaps it could be on US kind of culture, but I believe that most of these, if not all of these, are going to actually be relevant to anyone worldwide. So for you, my sister, or if somebody's watching this later during the day, it could be this. I think these will be relevant to you no matter where you live. And here's the thing, I'm going to do the same show right after this in Español, so that if you are a Spanish speaker, I am convinced these also will relate to you in the same way. So here we go, okay? Number one, the first prediction that I have for 2017. And by the way, on my actual course, I'm going to actually include these 10 predictions. If you sign up by this Sunday, so in a couple of days, I think that's actually the 31st, right, of December. If you sign up and register by this Sunday, you will actually receive these top 10 predictions in a PDF form, so you can keep them in your phone, you can download them, print them, whatever you want to do. So number one prediction. This one, as you know, I am a pastor and I work with churches all over the place. So this is one, and most of them are not church related, but this one does go out to if you're a churchgoer or if you're a church leader. So here, the number one deals with church. So number one is churches will struggle in 2017 unless they change. Let's put will continue, because at least here in the US, there has been a ongoing and rapidly increasing struggle that churches have had for, I would say, the last probably 5 years, maybe even as, I would say 4 to 5 years. And so my first prediction is that churches will continue to struggle in 2017 unless they change everything. And so what I mean by changing everything is I mean everything. I mean, well, let's say not everything except the one major thing, and that is, of course, that we believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. But I'm talking about ministries, I'm talking about staffing, I'm talking about their vision, their services, what they do to help people, what kind of people they're reaching, how they do their sermons, how they hire people, how they make how they make ends meet, meaning how do they collect offerings and how do they survive financially? What do they do with their buildings and their facilities? How do they support other churches? But most of all, of course, is how do they actually reach people? How do they actually serve people in their communities? And so, as I've said, I've been a pastor for 25 years, and in the last 5, churches have struggled tremendously. And so my number one prediction is that churches will continue to struggle unless they change everything, unless they rethink every aspect of what they do and how they do it. And so this is something that is, as you can imagine, very, very dear to me. And I have spent thousands of hours and thousands of dollars studying and practicing some of these tools and spending a lot of time just trying and processing these very themes myself. So I would love to know if this is something that interests you, meaning that you want to have a conversation about this. I would love to know if you're interested. Let me know in the chat below if this is something that interests you, that perhaps you would like to talk more about in terms of if you're a church leader or if you have interest in the area of the kingdom of God. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, 10 predictions in 2017. that I think will be inevitable. Number two, second prediction is mental health issues. And you know what I'm talking about here, right? Fear, anxiety, depression, mostly those three, what I call the fad, will increase tenfold or by 100%. In other words, issues of fear, of anxiety, of depression, of loneliness, of feeling insecure, of not feeling confident, of not feeling worth, to be worth of a job or of a relationship or of a job are going to increase, are going to only increase by 10 times. And again, this is not a happy prediction, you're going to make more money, that you're going to have a bigger house. These are just some of the things that I've been thinking about, that I've noticed a trend. And I believe that for all of these things, there's a solution. But we have to start with the bad news and with the reality of what we see and what I have noticed. What I've noticed is that these issues are not getting better. That, if anything, they are becoming more and more obvious to people. So as a church leader, I notice this all the time. More and more people are, even though they're still hiding, but when they finally have the courage to maybe say something, they talk about issues of mental health. And maybe they themselves aren't dealing with depression or with anxiety, and maybe it's not debilitating. It's not like maybe the old days, how people used to think that that was just for really crazy people, or really only for people on drugs or people that were homeless. Remember those days when people thought that issues of mental health was only for the really bad people? I mean, you look at George Michael and just this 53-year-old man, 53, right, or 57, 53, that just died a couple of weeks ago. What did he deal with for most of his life? Depression. It wasn't drugs. Drugs was a way to cope with his own identity, and apparently it dealt with his appearance, how he looked, and so that was very, very hard for him. You think of Robin Williams, you think of, actors and musicians, but forget the big names. It's you and me. It's people in your own neighborhood, in your own church, in your own school, you have students that you work with, and even though maybe you might say, well, I don't have to deal with that because I'm not a counselor or a therapist. You can try to ignore that. But I guarantee that the people that you're serving, maybe you work at a restaurant and you're helping people, or if you're a teacher, you're helping kids, those children and their parents are dealing with some form of mental health issues. And so that is going to only increase. And so obviously the solutions are what's next. What do we do? Okay, but I'm going to just stay with the kind of these top 10 predictions for 2017. Okay, number 3. Let's keep moving here. We got 10. Let me know, by the way, in the chat below, which of these do you agree with? Give me a 1 to a 10, 1 through 10. If you feel like, you know what, I agree with that one, give me a 10. If you say, I don't see it, then give me a 1. Or maybe you're like a 3 or a 7. Let me know in the chat below, 1 to 10, how strongly do you agree or disagree with these predictions? Okay, number 3. Here we go, number 3. This is a third prediction of what I think is going to happen in 2017. Millennials, and I'll explain here what this means. I'm going to put a date here. I think it's 1999 to 2000. I forget exactly the date here on the end. Let me look it up really quick. So I'll look it up. So millennials will struggle to fit in to daily life, home, and work. So I don't know the exact date, but I know it starts in 1999, and I think it goes all the way to let me just get the exact dates here. I was just looking at this a little bit ago. So let me just see. If you know the exact dates on the age for millennials, then please type it in the chat below. What are the ages for what normally is called the millennial generation? So this cohort, let's see, talks about here. Let's see here, Generation Y. It's also what it's called. Some people call it born 1980s and 1990s, but I want to be more specific. Well, it just says 1980s and 90s. So let's just call it 1980s and 90s. So maybe it's the other way, 1980s to 99. Okay, let's just put it that way. So in other words, that generation that came after the Gen Xers and after the boomer generation. So if you're not really familiar with generations, basically the way it goes is our parents, if you're a Gen Xer like me, if you're in your 40s, our parents' generation, they were called the boomers. And then we came, the Gen X generation, and then Gen Y are not our kids. They're actually the kids of a lot of the boomers. And then below, the kids that we had, meaning our kids, the kids of Gen X, they are called actually Generation Z, or the post-millennials. So that's not who I'm talking about here. I'm talking about millennials. And my prediction is that they have been struggling for a long time to fit in to kind of a home and work balance, to find their way. And I predict they're going to continue to struggle in 2017 because a lot of the systems and a lot of the things that they expect don't match. And so I predict that millennials are going to struggle to fit in to life and to the existing, let me put it this way, life and work and play systems. And that's why you see a lot of millennials in many ways creating their own cohorts or their own nonprofits or their own causes, their own churches, because they're struggling to fit in. And then the people above them, if they're in a mixed environment at work or in their nonprofits, there's also not a easy connect between the two or between the three. Sometimes you have obviously three generations in one office or in one church or in one nonprofit. And so that's why a lot of millennials are starting their own thing. But the problem, as I've seen a lot of millennials over the last 10 years, is that when they start their own thing, financially the cards are stacked against them. There aren't a lot of financial opportunities for millennials. Even if they have graduate degrees from Yale or from Columbia or from Harvard, they are struggling to find their way in terms of financial resources, buying a house. Many of them have given up on a lot of those dreams. The American dream is not their dream anymore. They are trying to just figure out how to just make it through the day and how to fit in. But then you also have what I think is also important and needs to be said is the Gen Y or the millennial, I think, own attitudes also contribute to this disconnect. Because every generation has, of course, its hang-ups, and Gen Y seems to have some hang-ups that make it hard, or maybe harder than others, according to some of the things I've read, to fit in to day-to-day culture. So we got to do something about that. So number 4, these are the 10 predictions that I have for 2017. 10 predictions. Tell me again in the chat below your comments if you agree or disagree. 1 is you agree. And then 10, all right, the other way. Disagree, and this is you strongly agree. Okay? So tell me, what are your thoughts on these 10 predictions? Okay, number 4. Speaking of generations, what I've noticed, and from what I've read, is that Generation Z, or what's called post-millennials, they are going to actually, or they call them plural, will rise into leadership. So a trend that I predict that will continue and will only get stronger is that Generation Z, this post-millennial generation, is only going to increase in influence and leadership. I'm really encouraged by this generation because I see them all over the place, growing in a way that reminds me of boomers in many ways. They don't seem to have a lot of the struggles that Gen X or Gen Y have had in terms of hang-ups or being alone or feeling depressed or financial struggles. They seem to have a very balanced approach to life. They have their feet firmly planted on the ground. They get along with other generations. They are very comfortable talking to their parents, their grandparents, their peers, basically anyone above or even younger than them. It seems like this generation is primed to do something great in the world. They are currently maybe 12, 15, 17-year-olds. They're young youth. They're the people that are at your high school and in your middle schools, and some of them even in elementary school and maybe in fifth, sixth grade going into middle school. They are kids. But what I've noticed is that many of them are doing amazing things in life because they really have a good balance of not being overly idealistic. They're very, as I said, very grounded, but they don't have any big hang-ups of growing up alone or having maybe war in their background or gang violence or problems at home. They have had a pretty balanced life. I'm not saying they haven't had any of those problems or they haven't faced some of those challenges, but they seem to have, as I said, a good balanced approach. And I'm already seeing them become business owners, become leaders in organizations, I've noticed that lead in the church, and willing to work through a lot of the usual stuff that they deal with in high school and middle school. And they still have a lot of the same problems, but they're willing to work through them. So really noticing that. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5, top 10 predictions for 2017. What do you think so far? Number 5, here we go. Let's see what happens here. Number 5. This is the 5th prediction. Okay, here we go. 5th prediction for 2017. 10 things that I think will happen, and we'll have to just figure out what to do in 2017 with these 10 things. So number 5 is, this is a more tech-oriented prediction, is that online courses will triple and make millions. Online, of course. So, now, as you know, my world, besides church, is one of technology and online content. And so, for me, this has already been happening, but not everyone has been so into this world as many of us have. And so now that this online course idea is becoming more and more accessible to people, now that the prices are going down, now that more and more people are doing it, and so the quality of these videos is increasing, you have this perfect storm that I don't think is even going to completely flourish in 2017. I think it'll be probably in 2018. But this perfect storm of access with the combination of content, of amazing content, of quality content, is coming together, and then combine that with the fact that people have their phones on them all the time, and so they want to learn more stuff through their phones. And as our generations get older and even as more young people, as I said earlier, create more content, this online course world, or what I call the Gozo planet, or as I'm calling it, Gozo University, there will be more and more university providers that will go online. From the traditional schools to the entrepreneur, to the mentor, to the mom who wants to teach how to make a certain meal or how to do photography online. And this is already happening, of course. So as I said, this is not new, but it's only going to triple and make even more money in 2017. You see it on Instagram, obviously YouTube. In some ways, YouTube is already fading, and now people are making more money online through Facebook, through Instagram, probably soon through Snapchat. And my guess is there will be some new technology that will come out in the next 3 to 5 years that will be exclusively about learning content online. There will be probably 2 or 3 apps that don't even exist yet, that someone is making as we speak, that will be exclusively talking about education. That it won't just be like Kim Kardashian and her latest trip to France, but it'll actually be about mentoring people and teaching people tools that they need in day-to-day life. And so I believe that this is just beginning. And that's why I'm excited about Gozo University, because I am convinced that people are hungry for knowledge, and that if they see something that is valuable, that is affordable, and that most of all is accessible to them, and quality content, and it's just something that they actually need, that it will be a very profitable, and meaning if you're a business person, and most of all if you're the student, a very, very useful setup that's going to happen here in the next year or two. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6. Hope you're enjoying these. Number 6. This is, again, maybe more U.S. based. Latinos and other minorities will start more businesses and nonprofits in 2017. So this is another one that I've noticed, and that it's come and gone in many ways. It has kind of this ebb and flow. So, as you know, over our last maybe 10 years, but certainly the last probably year or two, there has been this ebb and flow of Latinos in leadership, in music, in the arts, but yet on the other side, this anti-immigrant rhetoric, what at times it feels like racist comments, not only to Latinos, but other minorities, African American, Indian, Muslim, other faiths. And so here in the U.S. again, especially, you see an increase in some of these attitudes that some are real, some are not. But regardless of whether they are real or not, obviously with the Trump election of just a few weeks ago, a lot of those emotions are out there. Even if they're not real, even if people and politicians or citizens didn't have that in mind, that is what's come out as a result of that vote. And really, that was just, as many people say, many of my African American friends, they say, that just simply exposed what's been there for many years. And so I believe that even though that has been a very challenging thing for a lot of Latinos, especially, obviously me speaking as an immigrant, and a lot of my friends, in Latino community especially, there's always been, and as well as Asian and other non-majority populations, there's always been a entrepreneurial and business attitude where a lot of people want to create something new in response to the challenges. It's almost like, oh yeah, let me show you. But instead of grabbing some sort of gun or violence, or even unfortunately maybe being involved in politics, which I don't think enough Latinos are, or minorities for that matter, we tend to gravitate towards business and the arts, towards writing more books and encouraging more people, towards being even more impactful influence in the lives of others. Because we realize, and maybe this is now speaking for me again, and again, all of these are things that I have personal experience with, but also trends that I see. But just speaking for me right now, without a doubt, when I feel cornered or when I feel like someone doesn't see me for who I really am, I respond most of the time by creating better stuff, by saying, oh yeah, let me show you what's inside, and by helping more people. And this is just, in many ways, the plight of the immigrant or the kids of immigrants, that we, whenever we're challenged, we don't go to fight or we don't get mad. We may get mad at home. We might kick and scream at the TV or the phone once in a while. But for the most part, we create, we serve, we get closer to God. We get in touch with our true selves. We dig deep and we say, I'm going to turn this perceived or real hate into love. And so I predict that this is going to happen more and more in 2017 as more Latinos feel like they have to express themselves in some way. And so they're going to go to their online courses, writing books, being more committed to their causes, being more committed to their communities, and being involved in those ways. So I'm excited to see more of that in 2017. Okay, number 7. Let's continue here with these top 10 predictions for this brand new year, 2017. Let's see, that was number 6. Number 7. This one also deals with tech because, again, I love tech and that's part of my world. Social media burnout will increase tenfold in 2017. So even though I predict that there will be more online courses and more universities online, etc., what is clear to me is that we are quickly approaching a place, what they call in business books, a tipping point when it comes to social media. Social media, what would you call that? Exploring or social media consumption, that's the word. So this is social media consumption, okay? So the trend has been more, right? But everything that goes up must come down. It's just the law of thermodynamics, right? I think is the first or second law. So once we hit this tipping point, social media, I don't think it's going to be a slow decline. I think it'll be a quick burnout, and then it'll probably pick up at a better pace. But I think we're reaching that tipping point very quickly, and I think in 2017, we will get even closer. I don't know if 2017 will be the year, but I think we're getting closer to a point of no return with social media burnout. I'm noticing this across the board, from people, teenagers and parents and boomers and Gen Xers who consume it, and also from those who produce the content. As you know, I listen to a lot of two major kinds of podcasts, church podcasts and then business or entrepreneurial creative content, podcasts and content. And I've seen this trend. People are getting tired, if you're on the producing part, of creating content to all of these different platforms. It's just maniacal. It is overwhelming to try to keep up with Snapchat, Instagram stories, Instagram Live, Snapchat glasses, Facebook Live 10x, Twitter Live now, Periscope meeting. I mean, the list goes on, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You have things like AR with Pokemon Go. You have things like the old blogs and podcasts of yesteryear. You have all these different websites, and that's just, again, if you're producing the content, if you're consuming the content. I mean, just in one Snapchat moment, if you're going to just go through your Snapchat, there is so much stuff now. You know that middle bar? There's like 10 different things that Snapchat is putting out there for you daily. I don't even know if they update it perhaps even more than once a day. And each one of those little stories has like 50,000 links and pictures, most of them about, Kim Kardashian and her people, that are there for you to spend hours doing or consuming. And that's just one platform. And then you go to Twitter, or God forbid, you go to Facebook, you're going to spend hours. And here's the thing. Whereas before, we were all trying to just keep up with the Kardashians and keep up with that, now the burnout is real. And the struggle is real. And so quickly, we're reaching this place of a tipping point. I should say tipping point, TP, anyway, tipping point of burnout. And so you're going to have less and less people online. Facebook and YouTube and all of these different platforms, that's why they're freaking out, because they're noticing the trends. They're noticing that less people are spending time on their platforms. That's why everyone's changing the rules. YouTube is changing the rules. Facebook changed the rules 5 years ago, and they continue to do that. Every one of these platforms is freaking out because they're afraid that people are going to go back to books, God forbid it, or back to talking or calling each other. It's going to happen, and it's going to be a huge, huge drop. And I think the people that are smart are those who are going to be right here waiting for this huge disaster, this cliff that's coming, when people are going to feel so burnt out and they're going to be hungry for a relationship, hopefully for God, hopefully for books and art and some of those softer skills that mostly have been lost over the last 10 years. Okay, so that's number 7. Number 8, top 10 predictions for 2017. Number 8. Let's see what number 8 says. Tell me again, what do you think of these? Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts? 1 to 10. Number 8, relationship and marriage advice will 10x, will increase. This is another one that I have noticed, and this has always been true, meaning that there have been problems that people have in their marriages or with their boyfriend or with going through a divorce or wanting to get remarried, or what do you do with the children and mixed families. So that's always been the case. But I find that more people are wanting to get help. They know that to just simply run off with somebody else or to be alone is just a bad idea. People don't want to be alone. There are less choices and options for a man or a woman to go and make it on their own. There's too much invested that people feel in their families, in their homes, in their children, of course, in their husbands or wives. And so I find that more people are willing and needing mentors and counselors and spiritual advisors to help them through their relationship or marriage issues. So I think that the whole business or practice or service of counseling, of advice giving, of mentorship, of again, online courses that are helping people with their relationship goals and relationship problems is only going to 10x. And I think it's a good thing because instead of breaking up or having that marriage dissolve, people are going to want to salvage or to rescue their marriages. Or as I said, if they're maybe getting remarried, they want to avoid the same mistakes of yesteryear. Or their children, they maybe even some of the kids are saying, Mom, you can do this or you can figure this out. So I feel that more and more people are going to be reaching out for help. And I'm excited for that because I think it's a much better alternative to the chaos or the splitting up of families that I see. Okay, number 8. Let's continue here. Number 9. 10 predictions for 2017. I hope you are taking note of these and tell me what you think of these 10 predictions for 2017. Okay, number 9 is online, and I would say also offline, meaning real life, exercise, eating, and meditation plans or services plans will 10x also in 2017. So online and offline, meaning your typical gym or your typical yoga studio, will increase, as well as eating plans, as well as places for rest, a spa or a mountain seminar, or what I mean, a center where people can go and unplug from life. These places, these facilities will increase, will 10x in 2017. Again, because of the same thing, because of the burnout that is happening with the online world, because of the loneliness that people are experiencing in terms of their relationships, because of the disappointment that many people are experiencing with just doing one thing for too long. And so even though people have churches, even though some people are still looking to God, some less and less, people still have to do something with that need, right? And so they're going to go to online and offline exercise programs that can help them process their emotions and get in shape. Eating plans, you're going to see an increase of online programs that are helping people eat healthy. I mean, that's already a booming industry, both of these, but it's only going to increase because of what I said. This is an ongoing, in many ways, this is a solution that people have, or maybe I can even call it a replacement that people are using for church, school, and the traditional nuclear family. As those things fall apart, people are going to go to these other places to find rest and to find peace. Spas, meditation centers, all of those places, going on maybe a 2-week getaway to another part of the world. People that love to travel are going to look for places not just for fun and Vegas and places like that. They're going to actually be looking for places where they can rest, where they can experience nature and maybe go to a rainforest, or they can experience peace in their lives. And so you're going to see an increase in these kinds of centers in 2017. Okay, the last one. This is the last prediction, and I think it's maybe somewhat controversial. 10th and final prediction for 2017. But this is just, again, from what I've noticed and from trends and from just what I think is going to happen, and that is that Trump will make a major mistake. Now, I'm not wishing him that. I am not, this is not a political statement. It's what I see as a pattern in the way that he thinks and the way that he seems to process life and his track record. And I don't think I'm not saying that there aren't going to be positive things that he's going to do. I think there will be a increase in businesses, in lowering of taxes, perhaps in the building of homes once again, and some of the economic maybe potentials that exist, even though the economy right now is as good as it's been in years here in the US again. But I say this not as a wish for him. I don't wish this for anyone. But not only is it who he is, from what I've noticed, in terms of just the way he processes problems or life or choices, but it's also the quickness of Twitter, the accessibility that he has to everyone, not just through a speech, but again, through social media. And then I would say second, because of the nature of the challenges that are around him and the U.S. There are so many things. Take, for example, this whole Russian thing and what Obama just did a couple of days ago in dismissing 37 diplomats, I believe it was, from the U.S., Russian diplomats, because of the WikiLeaks scandal and the online invasion of privacy that Russia seemed to have done in the elections just of a couple of months ago or weeks ago. So my point is that there are so many big kind of things to deal with as always, that I don't hope this for him. It might be a small, medium, but I predict it's going to be a major mistake that he's going to make, that he'll recover from because he's very astute and very quick on his feet, but that it's going to somehow possibly derail his presidency. And hopefully, again, this won't happen. I hope that he has nothing but success, but I think that he's going to have a lot of change in his heart and a lot of change in how he processes life out loud, per se, with just the general public, so that these things can be avoided. So that one, as I said, is controversial based on how you feel, based on who you voted for, based on maybe your perception of who he is. If Clinton had won, would she have made the same blunder? I don't know. Probably not, just because she is a different kind of person. Again, not hoping for anything negative to happen to anyone, but just trends that I see, and again, predictions that I'm making. So there is, my dear friends, the last of these 10 predictions for 2017. I hope that perhaps in some way you can process these and think about them and maybe come up with solutions. Now, here's the question that I want to leave with you. What do we do about some of these problems that I've raised, some of these potential dangers or hang-ups that I feel that are on the horizon? Well, that's for you and I to discuss. And so that's why I want to invite you to engage in this conversation and to go to lifeofgozo.com. Let me write the link here of this brand new program that I am making available, lifeofgozo.com/mobile mentor, so that you can begin to process some of these themes. This course that I'm making available called Living on Gozo Street is going to be the first course or training. It's an 8-week course that I'm making available just to help you process some of these things. What can you do if some of these things are true? Even if a third of these predictions come true, or maybe let's say half, if some of these things are true, how do they relate to your life? What can you do to take advantage of those opportunities? Because what I know is that every challenge is really an opportunity in disguise. And so I want to encourage you to, if you agree with some of these, if you disagree, to say, you know, I feel like that is an opportunity for me, or maybe something that I need to take advantage of, or maybe I need to reach out and take some steps because I agree. Maybe I disagree with half or most of these, but there's one that I agree with. And so I need to take some steps to make my 2017 my best year ever. I encourage you to go to my website, lifeofgozo.com/mobile mentor, so you can sign up for my brand new course that starts January 1st called Living on Gozo Street, Viviendo la Vida Gozo. And it's an 8-week course. I will give you the description here in the chat below so you can know what the themes are and you can subscribe immediately. And if you do it by Sunday, so in a couple of days, I will send you a free top 10 predictions PDF, just a nicely written with some pictures and things and some comments below on the top 10 predictions that I have for 2017 so that you can have that for free as a gift. Well, let me wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. I know we had maybe 1 or 2 people live. Hopefully more people will see this throughout the next few days, next few, maybe even weeks. Share this with your friends. If you're watching this on the replay, watching this on demand, if you've hung in here this long now, going in about, 50 minutes or so, thank you for watching. Make sure that you go back to this website and you register. If you do it by this Sunday, which is December 31st, then you will get a free PDF of my top 10 predictions. Thanks again, guys. I will see you next time. See you later.